and Pace Podcast, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Thank you. You too.
Today, on that note, we are here to discuss New Year vibes, New Year feelings, New Year's resolutions, building lasting habits anytime though, and like navigating through this festive period and the guilt that comes along with it. But we're back in our home studio.
Here we are.
Which means that I can make Matt coffee again. So let's enjoy, or hopefully enjoy, this coffee. Well, that smells like coffee.
Tastes like coffee.
Yeah, and that's the end of that. Smells like coffee, tastes like coffee. That'll do. I mean, it's well, what do you think, Matt?
I think it tastes anaerobic.
Oh my God, you've learnt so much.
So I'm just like a fucking...
It's rubbing off on you. Well, this is like really, really full-bodied. We've drunk some really like sweet and light coffees. This is what we call full-bodied. Like that's a big present coffee in your mouth. Something funny, Ian?
I was just thinking about that big present coffee.
Big present in your mouth.
So, I mean, do you like it? Do you guys like it?
I do.
I'm actually looking who it is.
So it's a roaster called All Caps.
So, these are the guys that we've been sampling the funky ones with.
No. Oh no! Yes, no, it is. Sorry, I'm sorry. We had a bunch of coffee from All Caps where they had this isn't one of the funky ones, but they had fermented the coffee with fruits. So like one of them was strawberry, one of them was apple, and you didn't really like the apple one, did you?
No, it wasn't that I didn't like them. It was they're acquired taste. Yeah.
The apple tasted like Haribo
because
like,
they're super funky.
Really strong.
Oh yeah. It was really like eating a bag of sweets. So it was a bit much.
Which is cool, but I like coffee to be coffee. That's
same.
probably terrible.
So this isn't one of them. This is a Colombian coffee, and Matt said anaerobic because it's a natural anaerobic process, which is interesting. It means that the coffee, when it's been before it got roasted, they lock it in a vat of water and deprive it of oxygen.
Oh no way!
Very technical.
Justice for coffee.
Yeah.
But normally that would imply it would be my understanding of it, that would be a really, really, really funky, like in your face coffee, which actually I'm not getting from this. It's really drinkable.
I hope the coffee can stand the banter.
But the roaster is called All Caps.
Got roasted, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, they're in the Northwest, and they got the name All Caps because they are MF Doom, like the rapper fans. So they're just cool guys, man.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Nice
roaster.
packaging as well.
It is cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Very small. But yeah, New Year habits.
Yes. Should we get into it?
Kick it off, Matt. Talk to me.
Kick it off. The New Year trap.
Ooh.
The resolution trap.
Absolutely. What do you think about that?
I think it's good, but I think the way that it's approached is bullshit.
Go on.
I
What's
think
good about it?
because it's a reset for people. So I think that, we're creatures of habit, and sometimes, when I guess everybody else is doing the same thing, and it's a big like reset. We've had a good Christmas. Everybody sort of relaxed. They've done what they needed to do. January is always that time where people are like, right, I'm going to get my life in order. I'm going to, do something incredible, or I'm going to even do something that just slightly changes my life, or, my fitness, my health, whatever it might be. Even changing jobs. It's always that new year, new me sort of fix that people are after. So I think it's the fixed part that I don't like. I think that, it's a tough one because I'm all for people setting goals, and we'll talk about it, in more detail. But I think that, there is nothing magical about you, and there's nothing magical about January the 1st.
It's just another day.
It's just another fucking day.
And this is the thing, because that New Year, New Me irks me, man. I read that and I'm just...
Gonna get a badge with it on, right?
I firmly believe that if you want to make change in your life,
yeah.
you can make it any day. You've got to be ready for that change.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand what you're saying, because whatever sparks that change, great. Like, and if it happens to me that it's the 1st of January and that's going to spark that change for you, awesome. But the thing that I struggle with and why I hate it is when it comes off the back of this guilt from like the festive period. And like, what do you think about that? Like, do you feel guilty? I assume you've enjoyed yourself over the festive period.
Yeah, I have, and I think, you know, everybody's completely different. You're either going to go, you know, completely full out and enjoy yourself, and you know, you'll get that sense of, I suppose you only get that sense of guilt if you know you're not, you know, being true to what your own values are. So like, for instance, for me personally, because I've got goals that are going into sort of February, March, and I've had goals before Christmas, I've almost used that as a bit of a sort of guiding North Star to carry me through that Christmas period. So of course I'm going to have a good time. Of course I'm going to eat my weight in celebrations and whatever. But I'm also mindful that, you know, what makes me happy and what my values are is sticking to my plan, exercising, you know, still enjoying myself, but just sticking to what I said I'm going to do, and that makes me happy. So I don't get that sense of guilt. I think the guilt comes in as a coping mechanism because you have said one thing in your head and you've gone against yourself and what you believe is true to you. And you know, we're going to talk about happiness in you know, another pod, but I think that guilt is a coping mechanism because you're not being true to who you said you were going to be.
I think that's interesting because like the guilt for me comes from, I think it's one of those things where like social media is a great place, but it's also a really dangerous place. Because the guilt for me comes from, because I still train through the Christmas period. There's no like week off, so to speak. That's because I enjoy training. It's not a punishment for me. It's not like
it's part of who you are, though.
Exactly. Yeah. So if I were to stop training just because it's Christmas Eve, I wouldn't feel happy about that because I'm missing out on something I enjoy. But I understand for some people, exercise is still almost like a punishment for things, and that's like a whole other thing. But the guilt for me comes from when I see things like, I know that like some PTs on social media say things like, oh, if you let yourself off your diet and exercise on a Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, that's something like 40% of your week. So therefore, blah, 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 blah. And so I see that and I look at like the 2-3 days over Christmas and I'm like, oh my God, what's the point? I've just wasted a week. But then it's like I managed to remind myself to zoom out. I'm like, no, it's 2-3 days out of the whole year. And that's like 1% or something. But that's where I go with that guilt because I do have a lovely time and I love being able to see my family and eat great food and stuff. But I certainly feel guilty this side of Christmas about it. And that's not healthy.
Do you think though, because you've got, like for you personally, you've got a coach, haven't you? And you've got more than one coach, but...
I play the field with coaches.
Because you've got that support mechanism and structure in the background, you're not necessarily going to, I guess, fall into the darkness that most people fall into of, you know, not having that support system or accountability to get yourself back on track or to even know where to start and also how to cope with those intrusive thoughts or, you know, you get to January, you know, worst case scenario, you've got to January, you have no goals. Where the fuck do I start? I'll sign up to any Tom, Dick and Harry gym membership and start paying 100 quid a month to, you know, jump about a bit for 45 minutes.
Definitely. I think I probably take for granted that, yes, I have those things in place. When Matt says I have multiple coaches, I don't have like multiple fitness coaches, just to be clear. That would be savage.
In the field, yeah.
I've got a fitness coach and I've got a business coach, and that's two like real areas of my life where I'm like super accountable. So yeah, maybe I take for granted that I've got that somebody guiding me through that. And like I check in with my coach and I'm like, oh, I feel guilty after New Year. He wouldn't even entertain that for a second. He'd just be like, but did you keep on training? Did you have fun? Right, and like here's where we're going to go with it, sort of thing.
And it causes you to reset as well.
But like, what do you like? You coach people. What do you say to clients that feel bad, that feel guilty this time of year?
The same thing I do to people, even when they're going through like, you know, the perfect time of the year or whatever you want to call it. Like if they're in summer or they're going through difficult periods with life, or you know, something happens as it naturally does. It's all about putting things into perspective. You know, you especially when you have a relationship with a client, whether it's, you know, when it is one-to-one, you want to put things in perspective, but also remind them about what that end goal is, and that's why goals are so important. You know, sometimes people say that it's lofty and whatever else, but you know, if I'm working with clients over Christmas, so I'm there. I'm not leaving them until the house burns down. I'm in there putting out little fires every single day with the accountability and the, you know, the coaching and the support piece that I offer. And then, you know, hopefully they won't have a burning building come January. But if it does happen, I think that's why, you know, you get some coaches that are very, not, well, I suppose it is absent. They're very absent from clients, or they're just, you know, playing the numbers game and things like that. But if you have a genuine relationship with your clients, you know, you understand what makes them tick. You know, as an example, I know that like client 1 compared to client 2, if you want to number it, this individual has 3 kids that, you know, they're married, they've got a corporate job, they're completely stressed. I know that the reality is that over Christmas it's going to be chaos. I'm not going to be on their case every single day being like, have you done your, you know, your workout for the day? What does that look like? It's more a case of like a holding hand, or more of like,
you'd alienate them and you'd feed into that guilt.
Yeah, 100%. But then, you know, having, let's say, client number 2 who is, you know, maybe a single individual who lives in the city, who, you know, is extremely motivated. They have family plans over Christmas, but the majority of the time they are going back to where they live. They need that sense of like purpose and anchorage in terms of, my training's a big part of my life. I know it makes them tick. I know it's what makes them fire up. I'm going to be really not on them, but I'm going to be there with them to say encouraging, how you getting on, positive affirmations, how you getting on this week, have you enjoyed yourself? Because some people love to train over Christmas. They will train literally until Christmas, you know, Eve. If not, some people might train Christmas morning.
Yes, mate.
So it just really depends, and you've got to know your clients and know what buttons to press and what levers to pull.
Okay, so we're all for setting goals in the new year, but let's talk about then the danger of falling into like the faddy side of it then. Like what, because you mentioned like, just joining any gym or paying any gym membership. What do you think the danger is there? If you know you've got to make a change, so this person, they know they've got to make a change because they've come to that realization, and that's a really great realization to come to. Something needs to change. I don't feel good about myself, whatever it is. And they want to change something, but they're not entirely sure what that looks like. Where do you think that person should start?
I think, you know, if you're like Gen Pop, so like the general population, and you don't have a history of any exercise or anything like that, you know, absolutely joining a community, no matter where it is, like, and to get a gym membership, let's say, is great. From a social cup, if you want to fill your social cup and you want to, you know, be around people who are in similar situations, you know, they're just new to the gym, or you want to get around people who are exercising more, because we are who we surround ourselves with, right? That's great. That's box number 1 ticked. I think if you're somebody who has yo-yoed with exercise and fitness over the last few years, you're one of these people who, you know, you've had loads of gym memberships, you love an exercise class now and again, and then you get to the end of the year and you're like,
nothing's changed.
I'm actually no better off.
If you've even made it that far to the end of the year, by the way.
And you just, you know, you're consistent for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and then you just lull again because your boss is a wanker and you fucking, you know, life gets in the way or whatever. You've really got to like reset and look at what, you know, success means for you. You know, if it is weight loss, if it is strength gain, if it is more confidence, you know, lifting weights in the gym, or if it's you want to attempt your first high rocks, you want to do, you know, your first couch to 5K, whatever it might be, you've got to set yourself goals, because if you don't, you've got no North Star to aim for. You are literally just going to be guessing your way to fitness, which is what most people will do. But social media and every, you know, gym in the world is going to tell you that their 6-week shred is going to get you there, and, you know, join our accountability program. And, you know, what, in my opinion, I think that's just playing on the insecurities of, you know, the small percentage of the population that have no clue what they're doing. So they just want a light at the end of the tunnel to say, come and we can solve all your problems. We can help you get there. You know, low calorie diets, all this sort of nonsense. It's just not sustainable.
Because then, so that like setting small goals thing, I guess, will keep people engaged. Because I'm here thinking, so when I decided to like changed up the way I thought about fitness.
Yeah.
It certainly wasn't in the new year. I don't think it was anyway.
Yeah.
But there was it was a moment of realization around my age, actually. So there's still a moment there. There was a birthday. So there's still like a thing.
Yeah.
So, but like that small incremental goals will keep you engaged and make you less likely to fall off the wagon.
100%.
So less likely to get to week 6 and give up and like, oh, what's the fucking point? I'm not seeing any changes.
100%.
And
it's also like, you know, the long goal, whatever it is always the North Star, because you've got to be working towards something. Like you know, I wrote in one of my emails the other day that, you know, if my car broke down, I wouldn't just go get my best mate to fix it because he says he knows how to do whatever. You go to a fucking mechanic.
Yeah.
You go to somebody who has, you know, lived experience. They know what they're doing. They can take you from A to B, and they know all the sort of issues that you're going to have. And the best coaches are problem solvers. I say this all the time. It's like, if I'm not solving your problems, I'm not doing my job. No one gives a shit what I'm doing in the gym. No one gives a shit what I'm wearing. No one gives a shit what coffee I'm drinking. If I'm not helping you and solving your problems, then I'm not doing my job properly.
So there's something there about like understanding motivation then, because again, so this is why I like doubt the New Year's resolution thing, because I think if it's come from guilt over the festive period, I don't personally think that's the right basis to be founding like a new habit on, because you're only ever going to feel bad. It's like a negative spiral thing. Whereas if you've spoken to somebody about it and they understand your motivation, they can always keep reminding you of that as well.
Yeah, 100%. Motivation is like a bus that never comes. You can just sort of, you know, you can have it one day and then the next it won't. It completely comes down to things like discipline and having those micro goals, having the long-term goals, and sticking to it.
Well, let's talk about habits then, because the thing there, like you said, like motivation's a bus that might never come, or whatever it was you just said. Therefore, it's like you've got to build the habit. So even on the days where you don't want to do it, and this is the big one, like there are so many days, or I've had so many days recently, I've talked to you about it, or like, oh my God, I don't want to do this, but you get up and you do it, and you do the session. And for me, that's been about stacking habits. I read a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I think you've read it as well. And he talks about habit stacking, and it's almost about like giving yourself the best chance of success. And on those days where you don't necessarily want to get out of bed and do it, because maybe you're on week 2 of a New Year's resolution and you haven't started seeing results yet, or whatever the reason is, there are things throughout the day that you do without thinking twice about, guaranteed.
Yeah, 100%.
And like some of the examples he uses are like getting up and making a coffee in the morning, getting in the shower, or like packing your bag for work. And then the idea that, say, the goals that you've set, say you've set yourself a fitness goal, so you want to go to the gym 3 times a week. Say you want to eat better, you want to make better food choices, or say that you want to be more grateful, more positive thinking. He would say, okay, in the morning when you're making your coffee, waiting for coffee to be made, that's when you're going to plan your food and you're going to make sure you've got all the food in the right place. When you're in the shower, that's when you're going to think some positive thoughts. You're going to practice gratitudes. Or like when you're packing your bag for work, get your gym clothes in the bag. Like, and stacking those habits. And it sounds cheesy. I want to know if other people have success with this. It sounds cheesy and I want to hear other people's habits, because it fucking works for me. Absolutely. Like I massively wanted to change up like the way that I think about things. So I do that in the shower.
Love it.
I'm like, what am I grateful for? That kind of thing. And before I know it, I'm not thinking negative spiraling thoughts anymore. So he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. There's obviously something to mention about, like, if you make your priorities based on how you feel, like if you always go off your feelings in the moment and how you feel, you'll never get fuck all done. You have to you know, mentally override or put in certain positive triggers, like, you know, you're comfortable when you're, you know, journaling, or you're in the shower or doing whatever. Then that's when you're gonna do those habits or set those goals, or intentions, should I say. Okay,
so what do you do when you know you've got like 5 or 6 sessions to do this week, and it gets to the 3rd or 4th one, you feel knackered, you've got DOMs, don't want to do it, tired. What are you saying to yourself?
I fucking do it.
But why? How have you got to that point?
Yeah, I've been doing it a long time now, haven't I? So it's I think again, without getting too deep, but for me it's like doing training and doing exercise or whatever, it's my life. It's a lifestyle. It's not something that I've attached to bring into my life. And
Interesting.
yes, I've been doing it for a long time, but when I look at everything and try and add it all up, my life is far better off because I am disciplined with my health and fitness.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes into every area of my life. Better relationships. I'm better tempered. I've got a better relationship with my brother. I'm a kinder person. I'm more attentive. All this sort of stuff. It comes from me having that aspect of my life, pretty much locked down. And that's not saying that I don't, have wobbles. I have wobbles all the time, but it's like anything. It's realizing what those, as an example, alcohol. And whether you want to talk about it now, we'll talk about it in the next one. But if I know alcohol's not serving me in my life, even to the point of not just getting drunk and waking up the next day hungover, if I feel shit after drinking alcohol and then it affects me by pushing back a workout or not feeling great during that workout, blah, 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 I'm thinking, well, hold on, if my values and who I am and what makes me happy is me working out, I'm doing an action that's not serving me.
Yeah, why am I choosing that?
Why the fuck am I doing it?
Yeah.
Or why am I hanging around with this person if all they want to do is drink with me or whatever it might be? I'm not fucking doing it. I'm literally at a point in my life now where I'm like, if you're not aligned with me and what makes me happy and my values, you're gone.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. And okay, so that, I think we need to rewind this a little bit then, because you're obviously someone that's been doing this for ages. I'm the flip side of it, where it's a new thing for me over recent years.
Yeah.
So to someone who is sat here in the new year feeling guilty about how much they've drunk, feeling bad about the fact that they need to make changes lifestyle wise and fitness wise, and therefore that, for me, the key was planning to fail.
Yeah.
I know it sounds mad, but to get to the point that Matt's talking about here, where it's just second nature and you don't think twice about it, or to get to the point where I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do this today, or someone's offering me a drink and I'm like, oh, you know what, fuck it, I'll have a glass of wine. Having a plan, and this is something that my business coach drilled into me, having a plan for, I know it sounds mad, plan to fail, but okay, so when you have that wobble, what you're going to do? And so I can associate this with business. So there are days, weeks, months where I'm like, fuck this, I don't want to do this anymore, this is really hard. And for me, the plan to wobble is get my book out, start journaling, start writing, and revisit, have a physical list of why I started this. Yeah. So I think that could easily be translated into a fitness thing as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Have that list of this is why I started this at the beginning of the year. These were my goals, and revisit them and remind yourself.
Yeah. I always say don't give me winners. Show me people who are ready to fail. Not failures, but show me people that are willing to, do you know what? I'm going to put my neck on the chopping board. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to aim high, or I'm going to do something. As an example, obviously I won't name names, but I've got a client who is a new mother. She's, got a 1-year-old baby. Trained with her before. Her lifestyle's completely changed now. Married, kids, whatever else. And she has got into a really bad, state of not putting herself first because of the baby and everything like that. And when we talk about small wins, always reminding her of the fact that you actually did the workout today is an absolute fucking win.
Showed up for yourself.
Let's absolutely celebrate that. Don't just go through the week thinking that, okay, for me this week, success is I have to go absolutely fucking mental with my workouts every single day. I need to get to the end of the week and have completed every single workout with no hiccups. I feel amazing. My sleep's on point. My nutrition is on point. This means I'm fucking a success. No. The fact that you got a workout, or the fact that you spoke to me and said, Matt, I'm really struggling for time today. I haven't got this piece of equipment. I've not got childcare. Can you adjust this? Of course we can. Then she gets the workout done. That's a tick in the box. And it's always reminding and stacking those small wins that makes you feel good.
And you talked before about how having that in your life makes you a brother, a better partner, that kind of thing. 100%. I have I have a single mother friend, but I also have mother friends who they're I actually feel like I'm a better mother when I've carved out even just 2 hours of the week to go off and do something for myself. Because like I say, there's mental balance, emotional outlet.
You've got to fill your own cup first to help everybody else.
But I get that feels really impossible for some people.
Yeah.
And I think I take for granted that I'm quite privileged that I can carve that time out at the beginning of the week. But again, just like a lesson in having like an accountability coach or buddy there with you. I do think though there's a danger, because I get that maybe not everyone can afford the coach relationship.
Yeah.
But so fine, pick a friend, pick a buddy, but maybe just be careful that you pick the right buddy, because how many people are going to pick the not upsetting you or like your emotions over challenging you?
You've got to be self-sufficient. Like, you know, the accountability buddy thing is great, but if your friend texts you and he or she is like, oh, I can't do today, I went out on the piss last night, and you're going to be like, okay, well, that's just a good excuse for me to not work out today. So you've really got to, again, not to labour the point, but you've got to really unpack it and go back to your own values of, what do I deserve? What does success look like for me? And is this aligning with, you know, me thanking my future self and thanking Matt in 3 months' time when I go and race? Did I put the work in? Yes, that's why I'm going to go to the gym today, or that's what I'm going to work out.
What do you think then about like saying these goals out loud? Because there'll be a lot of people who'll be like, yeah, cool, I can sit down with a book and I'll write some goals down now. But how much more likely do you think someone is to stick to it if they actually say it out loud?
Yeah, 100%.
In the arena.
Yeah. You've got to put it out there. Not only one, because then everybody will talk to you about it and bring it to life and say, how are you getting on? You know, are you feeling?
You've got to answer those questions
and they're hard questions to answer, because you just want to sort of like, I just want to dip my toe in it, and I want to set a goal, but I won't really fully commit to it. I'll just keep it to myself, and you know, if I fail, then I don't have to feel too bad because I didn't tell anybody about it.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm not going to be embarrassed.
Yeah, 100%.
But also, like, I mean, do you care when people fail? Not just clients, friends, family around you. Do you think less of them when they fail at something?
No, if anything, I'm more proud of them.
Right. Because that's funny, because that's the thing for me. Like, I, as we know, didn't perform as well as I wanted in the high rocks I did earlier in the year, as an example. Yeah. And I felt really embarrassed about it. I felt really embarrassed, but then I've realised afterwards, like 3 days later, I had a sulk about it for a little while.
And everyone's like, "Oh my god, you did a high rock!"
Yeah,
yeah. So
for me, like, oh, you finished a high rocks. I'm a bit like, but like,
your mum called you up and she's like, "Did you win?" Yeah.
No. My mum, who calls it hydrox.
Yeah,
but like,
you win that hydrox thing.
But then you come to the realisation, nobody fucking cares. Like, that's my personal goal, and it matters to me, and that's beautiful. Yeah. But no, like, my mom doesn't care that I didn't do 1 hour 15 or whatever it is that I wanted to do.
Love that.
So, but don't get me wrong, like, I think there's a lot of value to giving yourself a hard time.
100%,
I really do. Hold yourself accountable to shit. But the kindness of, but did I give it everything I could? And that's where we talk about values as well. Because if you know in your heart of hearts you put in the work and you did give it as much as you could, what more can you ask?
You 100% can't ask for any more. Nah, not at all.
But if you know, like you said, that you didn't really say it out loud, you maybe half-assed it, you're not going to feel good about yourself.
That's just an easy way out. It's like a cop-out to not fully commit, in my opinion.
And then you're way less likely to stick to anything in the future, because you've started this cycle of, well, it didn't work for me last time.
Yeah.
So fully commit.
Yeah, fully commit. Write it down, say it out loud. Tell people that care.
Okay, so is that step one? Step one is sit down with a piece of paper and write down what you want.
100%, yeah. I'm not religious in the sense of I sit down every single year and write down, 10 things that I'm going to achieve, but pretty regularly I'm redefining what success looks for me, and I'm writing down, whether it's weekly or monthly or, obviously for me it's race goals and things like that. But, if you're trying to lose some weight, or even, I get so many people message me about being fearful of running, and, where do I start? I've never been good at running. I don't know what to do, all this sort of stuff. Firstly, tell me what you want to get out of it. Are you just trying to get a number because you've seen someone on social media say that, you're good if you run a fucking 30-minute 5K or whatever?
Guilty.
Yeah, guilty. Write down what you want to get after it, what you want to get out of it, and then get the fuck after it. And work with somebody who's not just been there and done that, because that is a cliche, and that's not always the case. But there's nuances to, you know, understanding how to actually get fitter, because everybody, you know, I'm going off on one now, but everybody will, you know, tell you that they have the secret sauce to getting fit. But in terms of what we're talking about, just be really clear about what good looks like for you, and then methodically get after it.
And that could be as simple as, I just want to go to the gym a couple of times a week in the first instance.
Yeah.
But that's specific.
100%. If it's just like, again, really depending on what the individual circumstances are, but if success for you, because you've got a crazy life of whatever form, is just fucking turning up to the gym to do an exercise class, to get your body moving, to get yourself feeling good again, you fucking won. And that's all that matters.
If that were me, I would then, my goal there would be, I want to get to April and I want to be able to say that I've ticked those boxes and I've done that number of things.
And I'm telling you this now, you will get to a point where, again, depending on this, you know, this call it, you know, don't call it the hero's journey, but talk it of like, you know, the beginner and then somebody who's basically been doing exercise classes for like years on end. You will get to a fucking point where you expect more from yourself, and you will be like,
twice a week isn't enough anymore. Like,
do you know what? I've nailed this. I've laid these foundations down now. I am going after that fucking 5K. I do want to go to Valencia and run a half marathon. I do want to do my first high rocks. And then, you know, you've reached the next level of the game. What does that look like? Okay, well, I need to get specific. I need to fucking work with a really good coach. I need to, you know, get some structure, get some accountability. I need somebody to hold me accountable. I need somebody who knows how to solve my problems. And then you know, they go for it.
That's just reminded me of something that my business coach said to me when I was talking about, because after I did the high rocks, he's interested in all parts of my life. He was like, so what's next? And I was like, oh, I'm thinking I might do a half marathon. And he said to me, oh, that's funny, Lydia. I never saw you as a halfway kind of person. And like,
trigger.
But like, that is an exercise in picking the right person.
100%.
Because I mean, I have no doubt that he wouldn't say that to just anyone. He knows I can take that. He knows that's the kind of coaching that I need. But and I think my response at the time was like,
motherfucker.
Like, for anyone who's not watching, I just stuck my middle finger up at that. Like, I literally stuck my middle finger up at my business coach. But like, it hit me because then I came to you and I was like, because you'd said, "Oh, I'll pace you." I came to you, I was like, "Matt, I think we're doing a full marathon." Like,
let's go.
Because he, you know, I mean, I don't know if I will do a full marathon, but
sure.
one day. But yeah, like picking the right person who's going to push you in the right way. Because if you do just pick a friend and you text them saying, "Oh, I don't want to do it today," and the wrong person who thinks they're being loving might just go, "Oh, that's okay." Like, you know, do what's right. So the right person who understands that end goal and how important it is to you.
100%. Love it.
What are your goals for 2025?
My goals are to break 60 minutes for high rocks for singles.
What's the date for that?
Toulouse.
Go on, what's the date?
Feb the 8th.
Okay.
8th of Feb.
That's a big one, that is.
If anybody is listening in France and they're in Toulouse, then come down and
cheer him on.
100%.
Yes.
Because I think someone else is doing one as well.
Yes, that's me.
So
say it out loud.
So I'm doing the day after. I'm doing the 9th of February in Toulouse. Is it Toulouse or Toulouse?
Toulouse. I'll probably get told off by
Guillaume Pio. Previous podcast guest. So I'm doing the day after. We're both doing the singles. Matt's doing the Saturday. I'm doing the Sunday.
And then we're doing doubles, aren't we?
Maybe.
Have you booked it, guys? Have you booked it?
No, I'm suffering from injuries at the moment.
Ian is suffering from pretty severe injuries.
My life is...
That's also something else we need to say. If you're suffering from a severe injury, it's okay to reassess these goals.
Yeah, it's very... but yeah, if you're in France, come and join us for coffee.
Come say hello.
Oh, we'll do maybe we should do a French special.
Oh my God, yes.
We should, like, the night on the Sunday after. Ian, you're bringing a camera. We're going to set up in the
coffee
Airbnb.
and croissant.
Or the pasta we've got left over.
Review. I love that. That's such a good
idea. Yeah, okay, go on.
Yeah,
sub 60 minutes.
Yeah, sub 60 minutes. I want to get my first full marathon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have we got a time for that, or?
I have got a time. It's a pretty ambitious one. I'm gonna need to lose some weight.
Okay.
But I know from, you know, I'm not in this sort of shape now, but I want to break 3 hours.
Whew.
Yeah, I think I can do it.
I think you can do it.
I need to lose some weight because I'm just like high rocks heavy at the moment, which is fine. But
what is high rocks heavy? Like, what do you get heavier when you're training?
Well, yeah, just I mean, yeah,
Because of the strength
for people,
elements.
for people, yeah. So I'm, you know, I think I've naturally got bigger anyway as I've gotten older, and it's not a bad way. It's just that I've done a hell of a lot more strength training for high rocks than I ever did when I was running. Like probably double the amount, to be brutally honest. But I feel I need this weight to be able to attack the stations and things like that. But obviously managing the fact that it doesn't affect my running too much.
Okay.
But yeah, if I was doing the marathon, I'd probably just drop a few kilos.
So what time of year do you want to do that?
Well, there's a few towards the end of the year, so like September, October. So it gives me a good chance to see if I can qualify for Worlds in Chicago.
Okay.
And then if not, off season, and then go after the second year goal sort of thing.
Cool.
So yeah, that's two of my goals.
Nice.
What are your goals?
I'm so bad at this. For someone who's just sat there talking about how important goals are, I have business goals. Like I want to open another site for my business.
Nice.
And then there are like all sorts of financial goals around that because the climate is mad. The climate for hospitality is mad. So
great time to open a business.
Opening another one and then trying to make it profitable is a really wild, scary goal. But if your goals don't scare you, you know. And then some like physical goals, and that's the interesting one about like reassessing goals as well, because obviously I wanted to do something like a 1 hour like 16. No, sorry, it was a 1 hour 18 high rocks by myself is what I wanted to do, and I missed it by a lot. But then actually, there's something here about reassessing and like what's actually realistic for me as someone who hasn't been running for that long. But then in my head, there's like, I'm currently trying to deal with, does reassessing that goal feel like failure?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. You know, so that there's a whole thing going on there. So I actually don't currently have a time that I want to hit for the wanting to lose, because I haven't dealt with that in my head yet. But I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll let you know maybe the day before.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm really, really bad at setting personal goals. Really bad.
Why?
Honestly, I mean, how long do we have? Because honestly, I feel like it feels a little bit selfish, and I don't really know why. And also, I'm so wrapped up in my business that if you ask me what's a personal goal, I'll tell you a business goal, and then my coach would be the first one to point out to me that's a business goal.
Yeah.
But to me, they're one and the same.
Because your business is a huge part.
It's my identity. It's absolutely like who I am. If I'm not at work, I'm at the gym, and if I'm not at the gym, I'm doing something business related.
It's hard, isn't it?
Or apparently recording podcasts.
Yeah.
It's now the new thing. But that's interesting. I'd like to know other people's goals. Let us know what your goals are for 2025, whether they're fitness, personal, business. I actually, when I decided to open a business, I was sat in a bath on New Year's Day. And someone here saying I hate New Year's resolutions, that I was like, this is the day, this is the year I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know if you've had one of those moments.
100%. Comment below. Write your goals down.
Please do.
Amazing. I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
It's good. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Write your goals down below. And we'll see you on the next podcast.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.